Hello all, Revan619 here. I hope you're all doing very well. I wanted to show you all a little build variant and a build combination that, when works together, I call the Super Chainsaw Bros. Lots of people have taken various parts of this build and they've actually made their own stuff for it, but they're not all quite hitting it up. So previously I did an A-Blood Vanguard build using the Malpain Shroud, which you could easily throw a chainsaw on and do some insane damage because the chainsaw's temporary HP on Malpain Shroud with the multi-hit does some insane damage. However, the problem with Vanguard is it has movement issues. After you attack, you lose all movement. So even if you're using rigorous training to keep your charge distance up, you still lose attacks once you do your normal attack. The second issue is it only has one attack action. Other than the temp HP, Vanguard is not a very good class. Everything tanky you can do with it, you can do better on an Arc Militant. However, the problem with an Arc Militant is it has better movement, it doesn't lose movement, it generates movement better, it doesn't need to rely on heroic actions from officers and even its own damn breach like Vanguard does from Warrior, and it can just do so much more. But it can't stack temporary health. So, how do we get around this? Well, the answer is a Bio-Pyromancer Exemplar. Now, Exemplar, when it used Does It Hurt on a chainsaw, can do some insane procs of damage on the chainsaw, and it absolutely explodes enemies. Now, one of the things that you can then use is if you combine the Exemplar with the Camaraderie badge here, what you can do with that is you can give nearest ally temporary wounds. However, normally it does the willpower bonus plus the fellowship bonus, so in this case it'd be 12, and that's not very much. But when you multi-hit with the chainsaw, and then after it does the damage of that, it then does all the procs, it actually explodes and it can give allies, depending on how much damage you did, temporary health. Before I had endgame gearing, I was giving over 200 HP to the nearest ally. So that means if you position your Vanguard as the closest person, he would have got a load of HP. But even better yet, we could now do that on an Arc Militant, which means you can then have an Arc Militant with 200 HP that then does some insane damage. And I will show clips of this as I'm talking through. But what you now want to do is we're going to look at some of the items that you can really do this. So I'm not going to go through all the talents individually. I will go over some key talents. And I'll also go over the itemization. So when you look at this, the key talents you're going to be wanting to take for both builds, if we go into the features here and we go into Heinrich's, it's mostly warrior talents that we can then do for this, and it's going to be the really good ones. So first of all, you want to get rigorous training, which is the warrior becomes incredibly deft. Charge and slash do not end the warrior's movement and grant dodge for 1 round after use. Very good start. We then want Impertitus, which the damage dealt by the charge is increased by plus 16 when the ability is used from a distance of 5 or more cells. After that, you can then get Ramming Speed to increase the charge distance by 3 cells. There are lots of other talents that you can then take for this to increase your damages, and you can also use Reckless Strike to guarantee crits. But having these is what then allows us to set up. So, like I said, I've got the build guide stat by stat on the spreadsheet, which I'll link below so you can look at A-Blood, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. But the gearing that you can use to really make this combination really powerful is you can use the Visors of Inevitable Retribution, which will build up its stacks for Nevability. What Nevability does is yeah, it does direct damage divided by Medicaid's do it. So that's something to come in. The Camaraderie badge will allow us to stack huge temp HP. We've got the item of St. Cognitius's Ostensorium, which is whenever the wearer suffers from attack by a demon or warp damage, they inflict 8 burning damage to all enemies. All burning effects inflicted by the wearer deals double damage if they are demons or psychers. Sometimes that applies to everything, such as the Flensing Face. That is a little bit bugged, but it's something that we can use here. We've got the Anatomy Tone. The wielder gains an additional 13 damage for single attacks against human enemies, and that is Strength plus Intelligence bonus. So this will help build up the damage a little bit. We take the High Spinner's Gloves, increases the critical damage of where it hurts, including damage from the attack itself, from extra instances of damage over times by Medicaid, which is plus 35 here. We use Pack of Regents, so we increase the damage of all bleeding, burning, and toxin effects applied by the user by plus 2. And then we take the Pneumo Boots, which will make the charge ability cost 1 AP less. The chest place I've used is actually just increasing his arm by Lord Xenos. But the trick here is, to increase his AP, we can use Bloody Pact. So we can lower his health to use Crimson Rage, which for 25% of health can give you +1 AP. Can't be used below 50% wounds. So you can pop that twice at the start. And then we give him the well-maintained Chainsaw. The reason we do this is a strike count 4, and it's the highest base damage Chainsaw. So with all your bleed procs, you want to hit as many times as possible. And then you'll do some really big damage on that charge from where it hurts after you buff. So this will then give huge amounts of temporary HP. And then when A-Blood goes, what we have on him, the most key important part of this, is to switch the Numo boots that I previously had on him there to the new boots that gives you extra movement after you do a melee attack. So to the Void Veterans boots, and what they do is whenever the wearer kills an enemy with their melee attack, they immediately gain plus use of charge, costing 0 AP even if they do not have this ability. So this means that we now have temporary HP, and per melee kill we can then get charges. Now with the Malpain Shroud, whenever the wearer deals damage with a melee attack, they gain the tough times icon class level bonus wounds. But what they do is they do a temporary wounds half extra damage. So if you've put on 200 here, you're adding a flat 100 here. So with the 5-stack chainsaw, not only are you adding a flat 100 damage to each of it, each of the weapon's extra attacks deals subsequent attacks made against the same target, but a +10 for 10 round of armor penetration. So then you can combine items on here. So what you do is you get a melee kill, then you can get a free charge. So whenever the user wears slash dash or kick, they gain agility MP plus free momentum. So if you've buffed them up, you start generating extra MP. So other items that are useful to go with this, Knuckle Guard, when the grants the +5 bonus weapon skill, it also grants equipped melee weapons plus 5% armor penetration and +2 damage. On top of that, you can use the Accuser of Sin, which is the charge build deals additional damage equal to the wearer's willpower bonus against demons and Xenos. So when you start charging in, you can start doing a lot more damage. Now, I've got the augmented gloves. You can use the heavy lifters to get his strength up, but both of them already have quite high strength because they take peak condition. But this means that you can, because you are playing Arc Militant, you can go in and you can charge to get your first kill. You can then move to the next enemy to then do a normal melee attack and get a kill, which will then proc another charge. You then charge again to get another kill. You then use wildfire to get another kill, and then you can get another charge. And as long as you're under the effects of Reckless Rush, you lower the enemy, you up your movement, and you keep your movement from charging. Other abilities that are quite useful is when you get Daring Breach, you obviously get more movement. You can start generating movement on kills as well as on charges, and you can use all your AP for attacks, so you can remove your attack limits. That means every piece of AP, if you have 9 AP, that's 9 kills and that's 9 charges. So that then doubles you up to 18 attack actions, plus 2 more, 20. So you can get 20 attack actions with this chainsaw with all the buffs in it from having the Malpain Shroud with temporary wounds. This makes you an absolute killing machine god, and it's my combo for the Super Chainsaw Brothers, and it is absolutely insane. Do look at some of my videos coming out over the next few days, because I am going to do a complete breakdown of the Heinrichs build, but I'm also going to be using this combination for my Act 4, my Act 5 of my unfair Grimdark run. So if you really want to see what this does, I've shown some early encounters from when it first comes online, which you can do in Act 2. But yeah, once you get into Act 4 and you get all these items, it becomes absolutely insane. Other weapons I've used on him is Tearing Vengeance, because you can actually use your strength and your toughness bonus, as well as you can get auto striking Power Sword. So whenever enemies attack you, if you end your turn, switch to these, you still keep the Vanguard's abilities, and you even build momentum from it. So it's like you have a Vanguard without having a Vanguard. But yes, with Heinrichs having Pyromancy to use Orchestrate Flames, and also having in the Biomancer abilities to proc Bleeding, and Burning and Toxin, yeah, it's just, you do so much of it. I highly suggest you look at those builds, follow the ring guide, watch the videos, see how it's done, and I'll have a full breakdown for Heinrichs himself coming, and the one for A-Blood's already up, but I've now got an alternative build for Arc Militant that's also on the sheet. If you're interested, do let me know and I can go into further breakdowns, and I will be showing this off in full combat encounters so we don't skip anything. But yeah, you're gonna see some very good things.